Happy Friday. Welcome to the Meltdown. Folks, I know you all want to be in the euphoria of the market this season. You want to make great decisions. You want time with your family. This is the time where people are really supposed to pull together and prove their love and their commitments to each other. If you're a Christian, obviously to Christ. But at this time of the season, there are a lot of people who have needs. And my best friend, Shannon, and the Smith family, pray for Robert, pray for these families. There's been a lot of loss and a lot of physical tests. Shannon's dad had a double lung transplant and a triple bypass. And so this family is very much on my heart. And I would ask, if you have the opportunity, please ask your Maker, your universe, our God, for a special touch of passion and comfort to this family. Anyway, the Commerce Department came out and said growth is at 4.1%. In the New York Times, the term astonishing. Of course it's astonishing. We're supposed to think that everything out there is going so great. How could it possibly work against us? Folks, the 10-year Treasury now at 2.92. It's been as low as 2.84. And listening to what is being said out there, when a company the size of the retailer Target gets 40 million cards hacked, the nightmare that's going to create in people's bank accounts, their credit card market, it's huge. BlackBerry is going to report a $4.4 billion loss. I worry about all of this. And while the U.S. stock market starts to look really, really good, you got to consider that over in China, Bitcoin is under more scrutiny because of the fact that it is a online currency. The Chinese government has little to no control over it. So look back over what's happened over the last year or so, where we get to seasonally adjusted annual rates. It's the Christmas season. It's supposed to be this way. My concern is what happens after the Christmas season, and people lose their seasonal jobs. Yeah, there's companies that are striving to excel and do better. But folks, the price of a barrel of oil, West Texas Intermediate, is now over $99 a barrel. The gap continues to close. Yes, Brent C has moved up some, a little over 110, but that's my point, is the spread is narrowing. And there have been times where West Texas traded for more than Brent C. Don't think that's not going to happen again, because it will. Now I look at the NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P futures. They all look positive. It's the beginning of the trading day. What I can tell you is that overseas, we look at what's happening in the market. And while the dollar maintains a certain structure of down, now the Swiss franc is up against it. And these are all cross-currency transactions. I had a long conversation with a customer yesterday evening. And trying to time the market, you can't. Most people don't have a crystal ball, and those that do can't adjust it properly. I've got so many clients that want to be in inexpensive gold and silver. And I get it. I really do. Buy low, sell high. It's a well-used cliche. It's old-fashioned. It's old school. That's why I keep trying to explain that gold and silver are no longer, quote, an inflation hedge. They're a government hedge. And because they're a government hedge, there are foreign governments who no longer come to the currency auctions. 30 years ago, there was one sale. That's it. That's all we had to liquidate and fund the government with. But because of quantitative easing, because of the low interest rates, because it's better to go out and take the risk and get the return than it is to sit back in a CD or a low grade bond or a medium grade bond. And heck, if you even go to the best grade municipals, the rate of return is horrible. Real inflation, heck, I've got a client who's a day trader, and if he makes $500 to $1,000 a day, he is one of the happiest guys in the world. Forced into retirement by circumstance, he found the means to trade in the futures markets, and realized that it's an important time to be taking positions, but ultimately you look at what's going on in the marketplace and you start to realize that you get mixed messages all the time. I worry about a company that goes out and says that they can produce gold at $670 an ounce when I've seen balance sheets that call for the cost between $1,000 and $1,200. That's just crazy. But that company will probably raise a lot of capital. It's a publicly traded company. And so to say that we suspect that we can pull a lot of gold out cheap is one thing. Getting the mine may be the other. So gold mines, if you're investing in a mining share, you're investing in a stock market, you're in the paper market, you're buying into the management of the company. The reason I like older coins, they don't care about this volatility. Silver at $19.30. Folks, you can't touch a silver American Eagle for much under $24.50, and you better be buying them in bulk, 500 or more, so the dealer only has to open a sealed box, slide it in to some cardboard, ship it off, and when I get it, I pull open the box and there's the government seal. It hasn't been broken. So that's the safest way to own it. But you better buy 500 ounces of it, and at 25 bucks an ounce, that's going to include your shipping. You got to understand we're at the Christmas season. Inventories are high. People want to be out. And there are times that within a matter of cents, you can buy a 1 ounce gold American Eagle. Right now, you're going to pay approximately $70, $75 over spot if you're buying them in quantity. Now, if you find a local dealer who will sell them to you cheaper, all you got to do is call and ask me. I'll tell you if it's a good deal. There are deals that I don't want to disrupt. I want you to do business with other dealers. This is a small community in spite of the fact that it's a large country. And so if you're dead set on owning 1 ounce gold Eagles or Maple Leafs or Krugerrands or bars or 20 francs, it doesn't really matter. What matters is getting good, sound advice, solid foundation to structure and work from. That's the same thing that your money manager or your stockbroker or your bond salesman would tell you. Now, yields are so low in the bond market that many companies have closed their trading floors. They don't want to have the intensity of trying to sell them or underwrite them or be a part of it because there's no money in it. And that's how this market functions. So what I want to tell you is that I get a lot of information. I decipher the information. I look at things like your age, your goals, your objectives. Are you right-wing, left-wing, conservative, liberal? I had a long conversation about the destiny of our government. And folks, this is about bad government. It really is. Why do people spend $10 million on a car, $40 million on a diamond, $100 million on a painting? Because they know the currency is worthless. They need something solid to preserve wealth. That's why. And in preservation of wealth, you get to consider a lot of options. Now, I'm not at all going to tell you liquidate everything you own and run into gold. That's crazy. I would never do that. I've never done it. But I can see markets, and whether you use the crest cycle, whether you're an Elliott wave theorist, regardless of how technical you are or aren't. You own different types of commodities. Ask people, okay? Ask your friends. Ask people who steal, because frankly, when they go into a house, they want the electronics, they want the jewelry, they want the things that set the foundation, and they store it, they sell it, they run all over town, all over the country, depending on the value. That's why when an art master is lifted and someone breaks in, they travel to another part of the world, or they find a private financier to buy it and bury it. Markets change constantly. And in the coin market, it is a consistent market that trades on a computer network. Yes, the spreads are tighter in bullion coins than they are in material that is not. And I really want you to be able to understand that rarer coins carry a wider spread. That's just the way the market functions. But it is not subject to the volatility. And so while dealers may be falling by the wayside, there's plenty of material out there. And I do care whether you've got $100 or $100 million. The idea behind everything that goes on literally is to be able to obtain product that maintains your liquidity. Liquidity is key. And building your portfolio, whether it's 40%, 40%, and 20%, or 20, 40, and 40, or a third, and a third, it's about talking and communicating. So if you want to reach out to me, it's 281-548-2646. That's 281-548-2646. Or you can reach me toll free at 877-705-2646. That spells coin. But when you call, hit option 0. Get out of the phone system and get a live voice. If you have to, please leave a message. There are times we get really busy. It's Christmas time. If you're looking for a message, if you want to understand that this is not gloom and doom, I'm not telling you I know the timing of a market, because I don't, but I can also tell you that for the client who's out on the internet shopping, I don't want to compete for $1 a coin. I really don't. My information and the knowledge is set up in such a fashion. Now, if you want to call me and say, hey, Brett, I'm looking to buy 100 of these, I don't not want your business. I want to talk to you. But I'm not going to quibble over $1 or $2. I'm going to tell you to do business with the other guy. The internet is wrought full of deceit. And the bottom line is that you need a clear-cut message with a plan that you can implement and build something that somebody else cares about. It is true that whether it's in the UK or the United States or China or any other part of the world, people collect coins. They collect currency. But you've got to be able to determine if it's got any value, or if it's going to even appreciate or hold its value. Bitcoin is one of the biggest concerns in the world. And if you had spent $1,000 when Bitcoin was created, today $1,000 would be worth $1 billion. But how many times would you have sold it? I got a great story, and then I'll call this day the morning show over. Back in the 80s, 1980s, my great uncle was one of the founding fathers of Boca Raton, Florida. Now, for those of you that know anything about Boca, it's really grown over the last 25 years. But Uncle Max owned the first grocery store and the first motel in Boca Raton, Florida. At a time when anything that was east of A1A, which is only about 7 miles or so from the water, everything to the west, which was considered the Everglades, you could have bought for 10 cents an acre. And at the time I was in my mid-20s, I'm like, Uncle Max, why the heck aren't we wealthy? I mean, at 10 cents an acre, I don't know how many acres you could have bought, but that land is worth a fortune today. He looked at me and kind of chuckled, and he said, Brett was a pretty good businessman. He retired in the 1960s. By the 70s, he realized that um, the people who picked up in his garbage were making more money than him. So my dad worked on resetting his portfolio. But Uncle Max said, Brett, if I'd have bought some land and I had managed to get someone to offer me, say, 20 or 30 cents, and I doubled or tripled my money, don't you think I might have taken it? Well, maybe. He said, nah, I'm stubborn. I might have waited for $1. And all of a sudden it came to light that as a investor, if you make tenfold on your money, that may be the point in time you pull the trigger. So it really wouldn't have mattered how much land Uncle Max had at that time. He wasn't a wealthy man. He just had some timing. And Uncle Max, God rest his soul, made a very important point to me. You work your business. You take care of your family. You love what you do. You try to make sound decisions. Sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes you just pick the cobra in the bag, and that cobra bites. But the reality is that we all get stronger for what we've gone through. And this is a time when I don't want to see people lose 40 or 50% of their net worth again. I don't want you to find out that your portfolio has taken a hit because of the stock market. And I look at gold under $1,200. I do believe it's a great time to buy. I love silver under 20, in spite of the fact that you're going to spend a little bit more than that. The Nikkei was only up 11 points last night. That's less than 1,000%. The Dow's open right now trading up about 50 points. The Treasury yields are going to get worse before they get better. And whether it's 291 or 292 or 285 or 310, the government only has so much control that it can function with. People are day trading and they're trying to make money as fast as they possibly can. Some are putting it in Bitcoin, some are putting it in rare coins, and that's really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about moving things around, protecting your portfolio for the long haul, realizing that there's so much wealth being made. You know, Lamborghini just put out a new car, 610 horsepower out of a V10. Car will go from a stop to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds. It top ends at a little over 200 miles an hour. And the price tag on this car is going to be huge. But you know what? There are people out there that can buy it. That's the point. So I'm looking at companies that are making money and companies that are losing money, and I'm simply telling you, take some of your assets, 5%, 20%, maybe 40%, move things around and just have liquidity. Because while gold is no longer, in my opinion and many others, an inflation hedge, we don't have any inflation. By the way, the car is about $4 million, but you know what? There's people who can buy it. Anyway, my point is that whether you're buying coins at $1 a piece, or 1,000 a piece, or 10,000 a piece, or 100,000 a piece, $1 million a piece, there's something out there that is not in a bubble that you should be acquiring just to protect yourself and your family. It's wealth protection, folks. Anyway, I never get off air without thanking Texas Children's Hospital, both the Downs Clinic and the Ronald McDonald House. If you visit themeltdown.com, you can go to either of those banners, make a tithe or an offering. The information is totally private. My son Jason has mild Downs. I love the Downs Clinic. The Meyer Center is located just south of Fannin, 5 minutes away. But there are so many kids in need that Dr. Ostermeyer and her staff will be more than happy to take in any child with a disability. At the Ronald McDonald House at Texas Children's, there are 20 rooms on the 4th floor. They house 20 to 40 people a night. If you can provide a hot meal, please call 832-824-8600. That's 832-824-8600. I appreciate Nancy Allen and her staff. My family has had to stay there for up to 3 weeks. I appreciate the comfort and the love that everybody at Texas Children shares around the medical center around the world. Folks, the doctors, the nurses, the staff, and the volunteers deserve to be thanked and appreciated. I love them all, and I appreciate you helping out. I'll be back this afternoon. Have a great day, and God bless you. We'll see you in a few hours. Have a great day. Bye-bye.